All right, now I'm going to try to take a video, and I'm going to say this real quick. I know I've been making videos, I've been crying about, oh, no mom park, no mom street, no mom monument. I'm going to say it real quick, all right? And I'm looking around because I'm walking around. All right, so I'm going to say it real quick. I'm going to say this. In 2009, I was driving taxi, and I noticed all the streets. I noticed Frank Norris Street. I noticed Ambrose Bierce Street. I noticed, Ferlinghetti and I guess, Jack Kerouac, whatever. A bunch of writers had these little alleys and stuff, had the names changed for them. And I thought, and back then, Mom was still alive even. But, she was, at that time, she was Poet Laureate of San Francisco, which I guess means something, doesn't it? So then, oh yeah, they gave her $5,000, and the city turned around and tried to make her buy a business license and pay tax on the $5,000. That's some BS. But anyway, so then what happened? I started a campaign on Facebook. I was like, yeah, we should name Rose Diane di Prima Street because her middle name is Rose. Diane Rose di Prima. And back when we lived there, Rose just ran from Market to Laguna, parallel to Haight, between Haight and Page. And so now there's one more block because they reconfigured the Page Street projects. And so there's a block of Rose in there between Buchanan and Webster. But the whole thing is I started a campaign online. All these people jumped in. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I'd love to jump on board. Blah, 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 blah. So I did all this stuff to organize people. And so I was going to have a meeting. And all these people like RSVP to have this meeting at the corner of Page and Laguna, because back then, the place that's some like private writers club now, that used to be a grocery store when I was a kid, was a Samovar tea shop. So I organized excuse my F word, F-bomb. I organized a meeting. All these people said they would come. I sat there for like 2 hours, and only one person came. Christina Deptula, shout out. Because she put her money where her mouth is. But no one else came. I even saw one person who shall remain nameless. I don't know if they'll ever see this video. Like walking by down Laguna Street on the other side of the street, and didn't even turn their head to look at the cafe where they said they were going to come and participate in this planning meeting to try to gain support to change Rose to Diane di Prima Street. And that was 2009. So I let that go. And I think I even left the Facebook group, and eventually, like some bot in Italy or something became like the administrator. So that I think it probably still exists. Rename Rose Alley, Diane di Prima Street, blah blah, something like that. That was a while ago, 17 years now, right? So I said I was going to be quick, but I lied. So check it out. Then Mom passed away in 2020, and I'm thinking to myself, man, okay, we lived on Laguna Street. We moved in there 1978 when we moved back from West Marin. We lived in Marshall 73 to 78. We lived in Marshall between Point Reyes Station and Tomales on the Tomales Bay. And then we got evicted because the house got sold to a local drug dealer who wanted to use the house to get drugs smuggled in without anybody seeing because it was right on the bay. And so then we basically got kicked out of there. Mom found an apartment at 263 Laguna, okay? Put a plaque in front of there, too. And she lived there from 1978 to 1996. And that was the second to last place she ever lived. And then, so while she was there, like, okay, we lived there as, like, vicinity to the Zen Center. We were, like, peripherally part of the Zen community or whatever. I mean, she's a Buddhist. So then comes 2020, and she passed away, and I put forward this idea, and then like all these people are just like crazy. They're like, oh, she some people are like, she never lived in that neighborhood. I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, when I was born in 1970, we lived at Page and Webster, between Buchanan and Webster, right next to John Muir, and whatever address that is. I think it's 434 Page or 436. It's 436 Page. I got letters with the address on it if you want proof, because she used to correspond, me and her and my dad, when she used to go on the road to teach Indian kids at Indian boarding schools, something most people have never done. okay, and showing her dedication to not only poetry but service to others. So yeah, she got paid for it, but still, who's going to do that? Go travel around Minnesota, New Mexico, Wyoming, go to like some remote Indian boarding school, basically a concentration camp for kids, and teach them poetry. They can't even read, some of them, or write. So she would take out her tape recorder and have them record their poems orally into the tape recorder to preserve their poetry because it was important to her. So then basically, you know, I put out this idea, and all the people like who supposedly, well, whatever, all the people who know and love Mom, everything, they all join the group. Oh, it's a great idea, let's all do something. And but it seemed like after about a year or so, I was the only one ever doing anything. And so I organized a letter writing campaign and a meeting with the neighborhood association that was actually just part of their monthly meetings. It was on the agenda, so we didn't really have a lot of time. And and right away there was some pushback from certain members of the community at Page and Laguna who didn't know her and aren't really part of the poetry community at all, but like to be active and object to things that they feel like are outside. Even though the same party, I looked up an article I found online where this person who says outsiders, like people like me that now I live in Richmond, I can see San Francisco from the park I'm in, by the way. Like, I'm an outsider, even though I was born at UCSF and I lived in San Francisco 36 years of my life, and I'm 55 now, right? So I'm an outsider. I grew up in that neighborhood right there, Page and Laguna. I lived at Page and Laguna till I was 21. I lived at frickin' Page and Webster first 3 years of my life. And then, so some people are trying to build walls around their little village and say that outsiders are trying to come in and change the name of their precious little park. But actually, the thing is all I'm trying to do is dedicate a place in the city to my mom, and that place is by far, I've made this argument a million times, is by far the most appropriate place because it's in the middle of the city. It's right where she lived for over 20 years, and so I think it is the most appropriate place. And it's a little park, and it's named after the street corner, so it's not like, like, who cares, right? And there's nobody very important named Page, and there's nobody very important named Laguna. The name Laguna Street comes from what used to be referred to as Washerwoman's Lagoon, all the way at the other end of Laguna Street, where there was fresh water, and people used to make money doing laundry during the gold rush and the early years of San Francisco. So that's where the name Laguna comes from, because there was a lagoon over on the other side by like Fort Mason and stuff. As far as I know, that's my understanding. And okay, so here's the deal. The deal is, it's this. The bottom line is this: is I'm Diane di Prima's son, but she's got, I don't know, at least probably hundreds of thousands of people around the world. I mean, she's translated into like crazy languages like Armenian and Georgian and I don't even know, Czech, all kinds of stuff. Polish for sure. Obviously all the regular languages like French and Spanish and Italian and Portuguese, and her books are all translated into those languages. So I guess she's important enough for people in those countries to want to read her. And but apparently she's not important enough for San Francisco. So the bottom line is, I was the only one pushing and doing stuff, and so I tried to pass the torch, basically. I went hands off on the Diane di Prima Park group, and other people pledged to become admins and push the campaign forward, because I keep hearing from people that it's a great idea and it should be brought to fruition, or at least brought to before the Rec and Parks. That's who's in charge of it. It's Rec and Parks, but you can't get supervisors or the mayor's support unless you have the neighborhood association support. So there's the Hayes Valley Neighborhood Association, and there's the another Lower Haight Neighborhood Association that are that's kind of their jurisdiction, and they're private neighborhood associations, but they're the ones that have the pull at City Hall, where City Hall isn't going to make a move without them putting their stamp of approval on it, because they don't want to alienate their the political action groups in those neighborhoods, because that's who they're beholden to. I mean, that's their constituency now, and for better or worse, So, I mean, that neighborhood, I'm telling you right now, it used to be ghetto. And when it's convenient, apparently it's still ghetto. And when it's not convenient, it's not ghetto, or something like that. So I'm going to post this, and people might actually watch it, and I might get heat for it, for some of the things I say, but I don't care. And all I know is that if there's any justice in San Francisco, that they would rename that park Diane di Prima Park, and that would be done with it, and that would be it. Because I got 100 letters of support from a lot of prominent people, and a lot of students, other writers, people that knew her, and they were all sent to Reckin Park. And I tried to have the 2 required community meetings. I mean, one, I guess, was the Havna meeting, and the other one, I tried to have one at the park. I organized an event on Facebook. I invited everybody. People from the community were going to come. Other people who supported it were going to come. But it was during COVID, and so some party, who shall remain nameless, literally called the city on me because it was during COVID or whatever. And so you have to have a permit of more than 5 people or something, and they have to all be from different households. It's just some ridiculous thing. And so basically, the day that we're going to have this meeting, outdoor meeting at a park, a public park, that I'm supposed to get a permit to have some people meet at a park. And it wasn't going to be a protest. It was going to be a community meeting where we discuss the pros and cons, the whys and wherefores, etc. Because the people that opposed it, they claimed that they didn't really oppose it per se, but that they wanted community input. So that's what I was trying to do. And these parties also pledged to support my efforts to get said community input. And they pledged, when I had a community meeting with them at the Mercury Cafe before that, to give me their contact information, and that we would talk, and that we would, peaceably agree to have an open debate, and invite people in to talk about it. But they never did give me their contact information, which I suppose is easy enough to find. All you have to do is Google people. I don't know why they think it's a big secret, but I don't care. It's just people. Some people like to obstruct because it doesn't fit their agenda, or they think it doesn't. Okay, maybe this person that I'm talking about is so part of the LGBTQ and everything like that. And so, Mom was she was just a female poet, right? Feminist. She wasn't part of LGBTQ. The hell she wasn't. She was down at 544 Natoma. She was down doing all kinds of stuff with that community for years, and all people, and she was a part of that community. So, and if you don't know what 544 Natoma is, I guess you haven't been around San Francisco that long. And maybe you should look it up and see what it is. Maybe you don't know as much as you think you know about, LGBTQ and San Francisco counterculture. Maybe you should educate yourself before you jump up and start flailing your arms around and opposing this. So the whole point is that I was going to say is that, because I put that video up where I was in City Lights, and people come on and they comment and they go, "Oh, don't wait for the city. Don't do this. Don't do that." I'm not waiting for the city. I'm waiting for you. I never was waiting for the city. I was waiting for you, for all the people that give lip service to the idea but never do anything. And if that's harsh, oh well, that's the truth. Is a lot of people come in and they go, "Oh yeah, I'm totally behind it. Let's do this." And then when it's time to take a little action, either it's no shows or excuses or nothing, not even, so my mom deserves better than that from everybody. I circulated a petition on, I don't know, Move On, or whatever those petition sites are. I got like 1,600 signatures last time I checked, but I haven't checked in years because I just decided that I wasn't going to be the only one doing this. I mean, I'm sure every son wants their mom to have a park, but I think that all the people that she gave her life service to, they should want to see that, and San Francisco should want to see that, and it's not unprecedented. We have Ina Coolbrith Park, and we got all these people with penises, alleys, and monuments everywhere, who are far inferior writers, may I say. All of them, they're all far inferior, and their service to the city and the world is far inferior to what Mom ever did. So I think that it's time. And it's time for you to step up, not the city. I ain't talking about the city. Go find out what it takes. I'll tell you right now, you got to get in a meeting before a meeting with Park and Rec and put it before Park and Rec. And before you do that, you have to meet their requirements of 2 public meetings and, letters of support and making a case. And then they decide, not the Board of Supervisors, not the mayor, but they decide. So, but if you want the supervisors to get behind it, whatever the supervisor is of that area now, I don't live in San Francisco, but there's some supervisor, I don't know his name, who's a supervisor of that area, or any of the supervisors, to get behind it. You have to have the support of the neighborhood associations. That's all there is to it. So that's it. All I'm saying is, I was never waiting for the city, and don't wait for the city, or don't ever tell me, oh, you should organize and find some place. I found a place. I organized. I did all that. And I did it hardcore for probably a year. I was out there running a campaign and trying to get people behind it. And people would get behind it, but they wouldn't stay behind it. So all you people out there that really care about Mom and her legacy, and the city of San Francisco stepping up, they better, you better take action. You better do it. And don't come on here and start talking to me about, what I need to do or anything like that, because I've already done it all. It's time for you to do it. So you write to Rec and Park. You tell them you support it. You organize a letter campaign. You organize community meetings within that community. And I'll give you some hints, okay? There's used to be a Baptist church, like back when San Francisco had a middle class black population, back when San Francisco was 13% instead of just 5% like it is now, right? And they weren't just, you didn't just see them on murals in Western Addition in Hayes Valley. There's a Unitarian church on Page between Octavia and Laguna that maybe they would rent out for a meeting to have a community, or for free, I don't know, donate the time, the room for a community meeting to talk about it. It's right across from the park. Or organize one in the park now that COVID's over and they can't use that as a bludgeon to literally threaten to have the police come and break up the meeting because where more than 5 or more are gathered in my name, it's an unsafe event. So that's what I've been thinking on, and I meant to keep it short, and I didn't. But God bless you. And, if you're the one that's going to step up, because I done stepped up. I did my part. And basically, there were a few hardcore people that showed up to planning meetings, and I want to thank them. Steve Hendricks, Margaret Casey, my sister Dominique, and Christina Deptula was on it, and a couple other people. I mean, I'm tired right now. I can't remember everybody right now, but and I thank them, for trying. But a little group of 5 people But then, and then some of mom's students, you know, who shall remain nameless, because literally they're like professing, they're on Instagram, they're on different social media, professing to, you know, worship mom and love mom and all this stuff. But when they could do like this one small thing, and then I gave them the means to do it, I made them admins on that Facebook group. They didn't do anything, like zero. So all I'm saying is, if you want to see it happen, you make it happen. You be the change you want to see in the world. Like one of the people that came to the community meeting had on their, you know, tattooed on their arm. All right, that's it.